Okay, it's the same day, it's just later, but I wanted to say that all of these books, and specifically Discomfort of Evening and Mating, are books that I actually ordered off of Tertulia. And if you want to buy any of the books that are in this video, you can click on the links in the description. And let me look at an email really quick. So for 20% off of your order, you can use the code ValentinaFans. I hate this code, but whatever. Valentina Fans, and you get 20% off your order. And then that's if you don't want to get a membership. And if you do want to just try the membership for free, you can sign up with another link that's also in the description. And then you can just cancel it before your build. And you'll get 50% off your order, unlimited free shipping, and then 10 to 20% off all future orders, and like other benefits of being a co-owner in this co-op bookstore. So yeah, now I guess it's the video. Hi everybody. I don't know why, but this feels so awkward. I think it's been so long since I've actually sat and like made a proper video relating to books that I'm currently reading that it feels weird. I mean, shit, so much has happened. Like, this is the new background, which is not special. I mean, these are my towels on the radiator, and then this built-in thing. Life has been really, really great. I'm super happy here. I'm super happy with my program. I'm balancing everything super well. If you are on my channel membership, you've seen more of like my day-to-day life. But with all of this change and excitement and stuff, I have been neglecting my books. I don't feel any type of way about it because I've been busy doing things, and I'm still reading. I'm just reading a lot more academic text and stuff. But when I arrived here, I had started reading, oh shit, okay, wait, hold on. Okay, I'm bringing all my books here because there aren't that many. I completely forgot about the first book that I had already finished and read like upon my arrival, which is The Discomfort of Evening. But I'll just show you guys what the current book situation is. Okay, up until right now, everything has been chaotic, so let me just give this video structure. So first, I'm gonna talk about what I've read and what I'm reading. Then I'm gonna talk about, I'm also gonna include books I've bought in that as well. Then I'm gonna talk about what I've been learning, and then this is more just like the stuff I've been reading for class that's interesting to me, and then what I've been thinking about, which is kind of a lot of different things and a synthesis of all of this. Yeah. The first book that I read was The Discomfort of Evening. I started this at the airport in New York before coming here. It's Marieke Lucas Reinefeld's debut novel, and the author, they actually live and work on a dairy farm in the Netherlands, and this book is set at a dairy farm. And I really liked this. I didn't like it as much as I had expected to because I thought that the dark turn it was gonna take was gonna be really sinister and fucked up and like maybe kind of surreal, and everything is actually very sober and very Dutch and very like Protestant. But I really, really liked it because the narrator is just this young girl, and I always feel like I really enjoy when our narrator is a child or young. Like, I've really liked books like this because I think it's impressive to write from that frame of mind. And I think the prime example I have for this is First They Killed My Father. I do not remember the author. Maybe I'll put it right here. But I read this book for a class back like 5 years ago or something. And I felt like, damn, did a child really write this book? Because the child like matures as she's telling her life story throughout the book. And it was just really impressive. So anyways, this also, I enjoyed it for that reason. Not only are we faced with like this sadness and this darkness and this feeling of emptiness, like the loss of this boy and what it's causing to the family, it's like actually rotting them. But also it's like the girl and her siblings, they're discovering what the fuck their bodies do, like what, you know, like it's just uncomfortable. But I think that it's good. Like, this book really made me uncomfortable in a lot of ways that I didn't expect. And I think it's truthful to children, and like I think it's easy for us as we get older to kind of forget how much children actually do understand and feel and suffer when they're neglected, and deep down they're insightful little creatures. Then I'll go through the first book that I bought here, which was God in the State, Bakunin. I bought this when I went to the anarchist bookstore in Amsterdam, and it just stood out to me. It was on a table with a lot of other like mini books like this, and I'm reading it and I really, really like it. Am I completely like on board 100,000%? Of course not, but I just find the critique of religion and God to be very like in line with the thoughts that I was having when I was 11 and 12 or even younger. I remember going to my religious education classes and just questioning and like not buying it. And that's not to say I wasn't like in a way spiritual, because I would pray certain things in Spanish, and I felt like in my head the religion that I would practice when it was spoken in Spanish, and like the Colombian novenas at Christmas time and all of this, like I felt happy and like connected with this. But like when it came to church and religion and everything at home, like in the US, when it's like this kind of class structure, like I literally felt like I was watching people be indoctrinated, and I just did not fuck with it at all. And I was 11 or 12. And so reading this, I just feel like it finally gave voice to all of the arguments and questions that I had that I felt were logical, but would just be like blatantly ignored. And, you know, I went to a Jesuit college for the first 2 years of my college career, and I had to take a theology class, and I was so contrarian. Like every single assignment, I'm like, oh, but what about, and what about? And I think this is why I really, really fuck with Spinoza so much, despite not having read Ethics or like anything by him, just stuff about what he's written already. But I think just knowing that he was literally excommunicated from his religious community for like posing these types of questions as a young man, and then not even giving a fuck and continuing on. Like he never really like rejected religious people. Later on in his life, he was close with, I think it was like Christians or Catholics and stuff. But you know, like he was a free thinker. And so I just kind of like reading different people's perspectives. Like I think it's so easy. I'll like mention something related to communism on here, and then the comments are like, oh, you really think communism's gonna fix this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, did I say that? No, it's about reading different perspectives and just reading about how different people think about stuff. Like I read Confessions, like I've read things that are like on an opposing side from my position right now. And again, I'm 23, like I think this is the time to just be reading a lot of different things. And I have not made up my mind about anything at all. I mean, yeah, I'm like out here riding my bike, just posing religious and existential questions to myself. But yeah, so I really, really enjoyed this. But I mean, it gets to the point kind of where I'm like, okay, we get it. But I like just the discussion of idealist versus materialist, not only those two different schools of thought, but how they are reflected in different countries and their philosophies and things. So, and also look at how cute my bookmark is. Love. So yes, still reading this, just really enjoying it, taking my time with it. Then the other book that I brought with me was Mating by Norman Rush, and I'm literally obsessed. And I'm kind of annoyed that I'm obsessed because I feel like it's actually kind of giving cliche that I would be obsessed. I think this is really truly a woman's book, and the fact that it's written by a man, I'm sorry, like that's annoying as fuck. But props to Norman Rush, because I think when I've read men written by women, I'm clearly like, okay, it's really great, I'm impressed. Women but written by women, do I even need to say anything? Men written by men, literally the most baseline typical thing. Like I don't even register it as being anything special. Sorry, maybe I'm like giving misandrist right now. But women written by men, see, that's a territory where I'm like, don't piss me off. And this has not pissed me off fully yet, because for example, Haruki Murakami, I've read maybe 5 or 6 of his books, can't remember any of them at all except for 1Q84. And every time I was reading his books, I loved the imagery he would create and his use of language, and like, it was always a fun, entertaining read that once I finished it kind of just exited my mind. It was a pleasurable, like, sensory experience. But the thing that always kind of like held me back still just a bit more was really like the women in his stories, and not just about him like kind of being hyperfixated on earlobes and like pubes and stuff, but more just like the actions they would take. It just felt so inaccurate and like dishonest. And how would he know? Like, he's not a woman, you know? So, I mean, obviously, through the male gaze, it comes out as this manic pixie dream girl vibe of a woman and kind of a caricature in my eyes. But here in Mating, it's not perfect. There have been like 2 moments where I've thought to myself, this is not what this woman would be doing. But it has been far and few between, and like, this book is so dense. It's really a novel. Like, I love it. We just get such intellectual, wonderful insight of like this woman's inner mind and thinking, and like, it's just so great to see a narrator like this and really feel, damn, this is somebody that I can relate to. Honestly, like, I can really relate to her. And I'm not nearly as smart as this girl is, this unnamed anthropologist grad student, but there's just really interesting relationship dynamics throughout this book, and this description of an intellectual love and a perpetual like intellectual type of humor in a relationship between 2 people, where it's really like they're equals. It's not a weird imbalanced structure with the man and he's dominant, you know, mentally and emotionally and things over this woman. It's like, no, they are really equals. They really respect each other, and they're like intellectually stimulating each other as well. And like, I mean, I'm halfway done, so I don't even know what happens, but it's just amazing. And it's just really great writing. So overall, enjoying. I'll talk about this more when I've finished it, but I think it's like one of my favorite books of this year. I mean, I can't include Dostoevsky in that because that's going to be top tier every single time, but like, aside from him, I think this is one of my favorites and has surpassed The Glutton, unfortunately, but fortunately, because it's good as fuck. And lastly, I'll just show the books that I bought. I bought this book, The Informers by Juan Gabriel Vasquez, and I bought it literally because he's Colombian and it's set in Colombia, and it was €5. And it's always nice to just have a great novel like ready to be picked up. Then here I have Isaac Babel Collected Stories. I got it because it's a first edition especially, and also because I've just been wanting to read Red Cavalry, and this is just going to be so good. I already know it's going to be so good. And then the last thing I bought is something that I probably won't be reading, but it's just beautiful to look at. Robert Crumb illustrations of Kafka. I just love, and it's in Italian, so I could kind of understand like a little bit. So that's it for books and like my personal leisure reading. Learning, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna try to keep it brief because I've been dedicating the last 2-3 weeks of my life to studying and learning about big data, artificial intelligence, all of the cultural implications and effects these technologies, not only like the software that we're using and stuff, not just the data, but the actual architecture of these technologies as well, how each of these layers affects a web of things like out in the real world, the political economy. I mean, how we're giving rise to basically the statification of data and like what the significance of this data is now compared to before. And if anything, what I've been thinking about most is decentralized power, and it seems to constantly be the shift between centralization and decentralization, because when we're talking about like technology, the main argument in support of it from more of like an industry frame of mind is being able to predict is more important than being able to understand. And solving problems as they come is better than identifying them beforehand and trying to prevent them. And that it's democratized because everybody can access this technology, when in reality, not everybody can. And when we're thinking about the data and things that large language models and machine learning systems are being trained on, it's basically being trained in English and like the most spoken languages in the world as well. So you can't say it's going to be for everybody when there are millions of people who are not represented in that. And those are the people who probably live in the areas where they're seeing the environmental impacts of this technology, of data farms. Even if they could access this technology and capital and things to use this, it wouldn't even be made for them in their language with their cultural norms and practices in mind. So honestly, it's just, we're being super critical and I love it. And sometimes I feel like my professors aren't critical enough, or at least they don't want to outright talk about the morality of corporations or AI and stuff. Like, we're thinking critically, but we're not denouncing these things. And I feel like I have a lot more resentment, rage, and like yearning for the destruction of this than they do. But whatever, I can keep that to myself. And also I have such brilliant classmates and the discussions we have are fruitful. Like, we'll go out for drinks, we'll go out to the techno club, and like while we're drinking, we're having just discussions about technology, and then in the next second, like talking about other normal stuff. So yeah, I've just been super interested in this, and there are a lot of exciting things coming in terms of school, in terms of research projects and like papers, and really having the chance to explore my own interests. But then again, that takes a lot of focus to even choose a topic and know what it is that you want to achieve. So that's like the main thing going on in terms of what I'm learning right now. Within a few months, I'm going to be learning about like actually doing data analysis using Python, and then just, yeah, there are other things coming. But for now, like, I'm focused on concepts and methods of data and etc. Basically everything I just said. So I'm very interested. I'm just kind of trying to think of ways that I'm linking this to my interests when it comes to choosing a topic for my paper and a topic for my embedded research project, and then eventually my thesis, which will be informed by this research project. There's, I think, a potential research project opportunity at Amsterdam City Archives, and that is something that I would absolutely love to do. And I've fallen in love with this building before I even realized it was the archives. I'll put a picture here. It's gorgeous. So that's kind of educationally like where I'm at as well. And I always find that even though, let's say, like mating, this book has really nothing to do with my master's program, making sure that I make time for my leisure reading honestly helps me so much. I don't know. I think that when you're just reading a lot, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it does a little bit, but when you're reading something that is intellectually stimulating you from a lot of different realms, even if they have nothing to do with each other, it still can be beneficial to your brain and learning and neurons and shit. So, so I think that kind of ties in with what I'm thinking about, because I'm thinking about how to maybe pursue the idea of translated literature and large language models, and what the intersection of art and this technology can truly be, and like where the limits should lie. But I don't know. See, that's like a really broad idea. So I need to really like hone in on something specifically. And I just have not. After this video, I'm just gonna be really juiciosa, focused on reading and shit. And hopefully by October, I'll have other things read and stuff to talk about on here. But yeah, other than that, literally life has just been really enriching, I think is the best word. So yeah, cheers to Book Pogo Europe era.